We're here to help your organization find the best co-op students. Our program offers flexible options of 4, 8, or 12-month work terms, allowing you to choose a duration that best suits your organization. All you need to do is send us the job description, choose your favorite candidates, and conduct interviews. We'll promote the jobs to our students, organize the interview details, coordinate the offers, and handle the rest. Whether you are looking to hire students or learn more about the benefits of co-op, we are here to help.
Hello and welcome. My name is Faz. I'm the president of DX3 and I welcome you to DX3 Pulse. DX3 Pulse is our regular and timely insights that are shared by biggest and brightest names in the industry focused on the retail and marketing industry. This is part of our series of webinars and podcasts that we're talking about, which is DX3 Pulse. But today we've got a very special guest. One of the things we are doing at DX3 next year is that we do have a Metaverse Blockchain NFT Summit. So this is part of that. We want to focus a little bit more on what's going on around NFTs and Metaverse. So I've got with me Ben Plomion, Chief Marketing Officer at Dibs. Ben has over 2 decades of experience. Currently, he's at Dibs, which is a tokenization platform backed by Amazon and athletes like Chris Paul to revolutionize collecting in Web3. Previously, Ben was Chief Growth and Marketing Officer at GumGum, a contextual advertising company, and held a variety of leadership roles, GE Capital, including head of the company's global digital media practice. He's Forbes contributor and advisor to companies like Deny.ai and Pebble Post and #Paid. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you, Faz. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be on the podcast today.
Our pleasure. Do you want to help us understand a little bit more about NFT, metaverse, what's going on in that space? Why is that space relevant? Because I mean, a lot of people like me who are on the outside, they hear a lot about these things, but they really don't know what it is and how it's working, what's going on in there.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do so. And I think the first thing I say is NFTs are a lot more that the media want us to believe. If you ask, anyone on the street or any marketer and say the word NFTs, they're going to think about, art. They're going to think about Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're going to think about those expensive, JPEG that was sold for, millions of dollars in the last couple of years. NFTs are just a lot more than this. There's multiple ways to look at them. And in essence, they are a digital pass to a variety of services. So it is true that if you buy, let's say, a Bored Ape Yacht Club, you own a digital file and it's pretty and you can use it and you can flex and share with your friend. But more importantly, that NFT gives you access to a specific exclusive membership, which is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. You have access to physical events. You've got access to communities on social media and Discord, things that you can't get in without a token. But to me, a digital pass is anything from a digital pass to a art club. I belong to a couple of them. A digital pass to a publisher. I belong to a couple of publishers where I have specific information about Web3 and marketing and loyalty programs. Or you can even have access to physical goods. For example, I'm a holder of a Adidas Into the Metaverse NFT, and by holding that token, regularly are being shipped some customized, Adidas apparel that you cannot get anywhere else. So just to sum up really clearly, NFTs right now a digital pass, mostly focused on art and fashion. But I think the future of NFTs go way beyond art and fashion, and we're talking about things like carrying on your personal identity, using an NFT to authenticate yourself online, using NFT to register your car, using an NFT to sign up for a loyalty program. I'm going to pause for a second because that was a very long answer to your question and see if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. It does make sense. I mean, I want to ask a little bit more about what you've just said, but before we do that, I do want to ask you, so where does Dibs fit into this whole ecosystem? Like,
It's
what
a
is
really
it
good
that you
question.
Dibs? Where does it actually fit in the whole system?
Yeah, so we believe NFT specifically are going through multiple phases. Everything started in the gaming space with NFTs. The first NFTs were for gamers, very exclusive communities of them. And then NFTs became a bit more mass market about 2 years ago, where anyone who has a crypto wallet could buy NFTs mostly for art purposes. We believe the next wave of NFT will be around utility. Can NFT provide some significant and meaningful value to a holder? I described earlier this Adidas into the Metaverse program I belong, and that's just the beginning. What Dibs believes in too is one of the best way to provide utility back to NFT holder is to give them a piece of physical item or a physical experience. So our job at Dibs is to take physical items that you love, your sneakers, handbags, DVDs. We talked about this earlier. Favorite books, things are very rare and very difficult to get, and store them in a secure location in the US, let's say Delaware. Then our job is to convert those physical items into an NFT that is always connected to an NFT at any point of time. So the idea is you would hold the NFT, we will hold the assets on your behalf, and whenever you want the physical assets to be sent to you, you will what we call burn the NFT, redeem it, and then we'll mail a physical item to you. The reason why it matters is a lot of very valuable assets or collectibles are things that are flipping all the time. So let's say if you got a vintage pair of Michael Jordan shoes that have never been worn, it might be sitting in the box somewhere, and maybe you're gonna go and sell it on eBay, but it's not very easy because with eBay, you have to trust the buyer and the seller. You have to trust the product is authenticated. You have to make sure the box can go from A to B, and there's just a lot of difficult, obstacles along the way. What we do is to say, no, we hold the physical items in our vote. We give you the NFT. The NFTs are a lot easier to trade because they're a digital file. You can go to any marketplace, sell the NFT, transact that way, and whoever holds the NFT at the end can say, okay, I actually want to have the item right now. Dibs, can you please mail the item to me? So that's what we do as a business, and we call it tokenization as a service.
Great. So, I mean, for a layman like me, would it be correct to think now that the NFTs or its applications are gone and are going beyond just the collectible, like the fungible token that was okay? Well, there's a moment in art or a moment in sports or history, we've just captured that. So, what you're describing is that NFTs are becoming almost like a digital key, a pass, a digital entry into something, right? And it could be used for that purpose. So we are looking at NFTs beyond just the collectible dream and more applications for NFTs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. NFTs are moving beyond arts and collectible, which is an enormous market, and expanding into other markets. And I can give you one or two examples here. The one I think was the most surprising to me, and probably the most surprising to your audience, is NFTs being used to access government services. About a year ago, the DMV, which stands for Department of Motor and Vehicle in California, announced that they were going to move all car registration in the state of California to the blockchain. What
Okay.
it means is instead of going to a DMV and waiting in line for hours and get a piece of paper saying, "Hey, you own this car," what the DMV will do instead is to give you a NFT that proves that you own the car and makes it a lot easier for you to carry around and also sell your car from one person to the other, right? So again, think about NFTs as digital key, as you mentioned, Faz, or digital pass to government services. You could imagine in the long run that potentially you'll be issued NFTs. Let's say in 5 years from now, you may have an NFT that gives access to your medical records, right? So Faz, you will go to your doctor, let's say somewhere in Mississauga, and the doctor will say, listen, can I have access to your medical record? You say, well, this is something very personal that I want to control, that is very unique to me. And you will give the NFT, basically access to the doctor to be looking at your medical records, maybe add to your medical records on the blockchain, and then you will leave your doctor with a sort of like medical record that only you have access to maybe some hospital if something goes really badly with you. But overall, you'll be able to carry your medical records with you. It'd be highly secure, very safe, and privacy ready. So that's another example that I think is important for people to consider on the podcast.
So, I mean, it is becoming sort of your digital identity, so to speak, or you can use it as a digital identity either as a person, or as an organization, or as a product. Because obviously, we know the blockchain is very secure and live transactional nature of the blockchain. So that does open up a whole new world of applications for NFTs, which is really, really exciting. And it's really good to see.
Yeah, my background is before I joined AdTech and before I joined the Web3 space, I was in payment services and authentication services back in the UK. And we really struggle to figure out a way for people to authenticate themselves online, demonstrate they are who they are when they go to the ATM machine, or even prove that they are who they are when they go to a bank. A NFT can do all of this for you because it's highly secure, it's on the blockchain, it's publicly available, yet it's anonymous, right? So I do see the NFT as the sort of like highly secure portable file that allows you to do multiple things.
Yep.
Another example too is real estate transactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last time you bought a house, Faz, or a condo, I'm sure you went through hundreds of pages of paperwork to sign. It's
Yeah.
very slow, it's highly inefficient. Brokers make a fortune, and it's just not very healthy as an industry. There's now a company called Rooftop in the US, and they sell houses in the form of NFTs. It takes 24 hours to buy a house. You go get the NFT, and the NFT is a proof of ownership to a specific house. You can have some financial elements to the mix, but overall the idea is very simple. NFTs allow you to transact. They're very liquid, they're very secure, they're on the blockchain. So you can imagine all sorts of applications in real estate, in manufacturing, in government services, in banking services, in addition to arts and collectible that we covered already on the podcast.
I mean, what you were describing about dibs, to me, I mean, if I can draw like a very basic parallel to the financial industry, would be that, and also what you're talking about in terms of buying a house with NFT, that it's almost like a asset-backed security, right? So you hold the physical asset at dibs, and people have a bond or a security against that, which they can redeem whenever they want. And it's the same thing that NFT, actually, the physical asset is the house, and the whole transaction is now streamlined into one token, which is whoever holds that NFT holds the keys to the house. Correct? So it's like, so that actually does make it very interesting, because now the focus is on asset backed things. That, okay, what are the physical things people can use against which there's an NFT, or for which there's an NFT? That's very interesting. That's fascinating, actually. That's a huge development from a couple of years ago, when it was all about just the digital element of it, and there was nothing physical, or there was very little physical attached to it.
Yeah. And it talks through how consumer behaviors have changed as well over the last 5 to 10 years. You probably know this already, but the majority of art today isn't a vote. It's not available publicly. Even big art collector will get a copy of a Van Gogh or a Monet and have them on the wall, because those things are too precious to be sitting in someone's house. So we've seen that with the art. In the collectible space, we're seeing increasingly millennials and Gen Z being comfortable not actually holding the physical item, but having a preference for holding a token that will give them access to the physical items.
Yep.
I'll share with you a funny example here. My wife is a designer, and she's very particular about the house looks and feel, and she doesn't like having things on the wall and all sort of things that I would love to have on the wall. So I only have one picture frame at home. I have a massive display, and all it does is display my collection of NFTs. I am very comfortable knowing that all I own is a digital file. It's portable. If I go spend some time on holiday, let's say, in Vancouver, I can take those NFTs with me, and I feel good about them because it's highly secure. But overall, I think more younger generation are actually not really that comfortable owning stuff, cars, houses, sneakers. They'd rather have a digital file that gives them access to the things whenever they like them. And then, of course, for transactional purposes, liquidity purposes, it's much easier to transact a digital file than it is for a physical one.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, in your opinion, what are the challenges that the industry is facing in the coming 2 to 3 years? Like, what are the major things that you think the industry will sort of have to wrap their head around?
Well, we there's no shortages of challenges in the Web3 space, and they fall into different buckets.
Yep.
One of them is obviously regulation. You
Yes.
talked about the word, you mentioned the word security earlier. This is a debate that we don't really have to get into, but is a collectible a security? Arguably, if someone sells a pair of sneakers on eBay, it is not classified as a security. So if
True.
you sell a Board Ape Yacht Club, which is also a digital collectible, why should that be classified as a security? So that's one issue that needs some clarity. The good news is that this, we're doing it the right thing. We're in the process of getting regulated. And that will allow us to convert physical items into NFTs using a governmental set of guidelines. That includes making sure that the items are compliant, there's no fraudulent transactions, or brands and customers are being protected. So that's one big piece of the debate right now. The other big piece for Web3 overall, whether this is NFT or Web3 or metaverse, is this idea of like, how can we onboard the next generation of users? Let's face it, if you are listening to this podcast and you are a crypto holder, man, it is not easy. You gotta get a wallet, you gotta buy some crypto, you gotta realize you can only buy NFTs on desktop and no mobile phones. You have to make sure those tools connect to one another. You have to authenticate yourself. And then if you're stressed out about security, you're probably gonna get a physical hardware to help you store your item using a ledger or something of that nature. This is not easy. I've worked in tech for the last 25 years. It was not easy for me to go and do this. So, how to make it easier for anyone in the industry or anyone outside of the industry, my mother or my dad, to buy NFTs or get a DMV registration delivered to them through the NFT mechanism. So, that means multiple things. How to make it easy to transact NFTs without using any crypto assets, using US dollars, for example, Canadian dollars, or whatever. Secondly, how to make it easy to deliver an NFT to someone. Deliver an NFT to someone through a blockchain transaction is amazing, but there's got to be an easy way to say, hey, Faz, here's an email. Here's a
Yeah.
link to NFT, authenticate yourself. Okay, nice and easy. So this is kind of what the industry is faced out right now. And then the last piece, which is the challenge we're trying to solve at Dibs, is utility. How to bring more utility into a promise of an NFT to the user. So as you can see here, there's plenty of companies working really, really hard to solve those three things. I can tell you, and not with a lot of details because I've got a very strict non-disclosure agreement with Amazon, but Amazon has been rumored for about a year now. They're going to be launching an NFT marketplace.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't it be great if overnight you or any user can go to your Amazon Prime account and be able to acquire NFTs, sell NFTs, trade NFTs eventually, in the context of your Amazon Prime account, as opposed to having to create a wallet and buy crypto and do all those different things. So you can see those very large companies, the Amazon and eBay, are thinking about that very closely. How do we remove those obstacles and make it very easy to bring NFTs to the masses?
Absolutely. And we've had a conversation previously where we were talking about, for example, NFTs becoming sort of a replacement for third party cookies and stuff. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, this is such a emerging trend,
Yeah.
and no one has really written about this, but I'm very intrigued because I can see something very profound happening in the world of advertising and marketing. So, as a recap, some of you here may work in ad tech or martech or advertising, but regardless, it's a matter of time until third-party cookies are being eliminated due to pressure from regulators globally in the UK, in Japan, in the US, and due to Google's intention to remove third party cookies in Google Chrome following the example of Safari by Apple or Mozilla. What you need to remember is when you go online today and let's say check a pair of shoes on Zappos.com, chances are you're going to see an ad following you on the internet with the same pair of shoes you did not buy saying, hey, go buy those pair of shoes. That tactic is called retargeting. And that tactic is possible because retargeting companies have a good sense of not who you are in terms of being banned or not being banned. They don't care. But banned may be cookie ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. But that cookie is the glue between all the different websites I'm visiting, my interests, and where the ads are going to be delivered. If you remove that third-party cookie, all of a sudden it becomes very difficult to find me online and target me with online. There's a number of solutions being developed right now, and we could probably spend another 3 hours on this specifically. Solutions based on your email addresses, obviously made anonymized, solution being based on other mechanisms like your digital footprint, because you have a very unique digital behavior online. But there's that sentiment also that once NFTs have been adopted by everyone, NFTs could become a sort of like identifier for you and allow you to log into multiple websites, to perform a number of transactions, and really give some information away about who you are and what you do. Let me give you a clear example. When I log into a couple of publishers' websites, let's say nftnow.com, I connect with my wallet. When I log into OpenSea, I connect with my wallet. And no one knows Ben is Ben, but Ben is NFT ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you start collecting this information about Ben, you know that Ben purchased a new NFT last week that has to do with sports. You know that Ben went to NFT Now and consumed that specific article that has to do with traveling. You can start building a consumer profile using NFT transactions and behavior on the blockchain as opposed to what we're doing today, which is done in a Web2 environment. So the thinking here is once NFTs are fully adopted across everyone in the US and then globally, the NFT might become a replacement for cookie ID, allowing a number of companies to target Ben based on the fact that Ben held this specific NBA token. There's a very strong possibility Ben has a very interest in basketball, and we're going to deliver a basketball ad to him on the next website he's visiting. That's what we meant by NFTs becoming potentially a replacement for third-party cookies in the next couple of years.
That's amazing. That's actually fascinating. I mean, you talk about, for example, brands. So I wanted to take your opinion on how can brands leverage NFTs and metaverse, and so what are the challenges or opportunities that are for sort of for brands in the current environment?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking that question because if you stick to the headlines, you know, you sing every day in your daily newspaper or daily RSS feed, the headlines are pretty negative when it comes to NFTs.
Yep.
The prices of the NFTs are dropping. There's less demand. There's less supply, and all of this is probably true in some shape or form. But what we're not saying is actually those Web3 projects that were initiated by Web3 native people who were launching NFT programs, they're not dying, they're just slowing down a little bit. But on the opposite side, brands that have embraced Web3 are all in.
Yep.
I don't have one example of a Web3 brands that actually step out of Web3. If you look at Louis Vuitton, if you look at Remora, if you look at Rolex, if you look at Adidas, if you look at Nike, if you look at Starbucks, if you look at Fly Qatar, if you look at Lufthansa Airlines, if you look at Ralph Lauren, and I can go on for 25 minutes here, not that I want to, those brands have embraced Web3 in the early days and have got no intention of slowing down. So Web3 brands are doing a bit less right now because there's less demand for their products and services. But Web2 brands, the one that we know, are continuing to invest in Web3 significantly. The reason why they're doing this is for a number of reasons. Reason number one, younger generations are more comfortable with digital files and digital ownership than maybe my generation.
Yep.
Reason number two, there is a very strong belief NFTs will become the next generation loyalty program of the future. Because once you own an NFT, let's say the Adidas Into the Metaverse NFT you own, your behavior is a much more interesting behavior for the brand than the one you have currently with, let's say, email marketing or Web2 marketing. I log into my Discord Adidas Into the Metaverse account every day. I make product recommendations to Adidas. I'm very engaged. So the power of NFT in communities is you're incredibly engaged, and brands have figured out, okay, if we could get the 5% of our users on this platform trading NFTs, sharing opinion about the product roadmap, like those people are going to be very engaged, very profitable, and will bring other people like themselves. I'll give you another example. Lufthansa airline in Germany and Swiss airline in obviously Switzerland launched an NFT program to revamp their loyalty initiative. The idea is very simple. You're a frequent traveler. As you travel through Lufthansa airline or Swiss airline, every time you travel, you get a little stamp, a little sticker, if you like, digital, and you collect those things. Once you collect enough of them, you get extra miles and things of that nature. This is the thing. Lufthansa is not talking about blockchain. They're not talking about Web3. They're not talking about NFTs. All they're saying is we have a better loyalty program for you, because the user doesn't care whether those are NFTs or something else. All they care about is the program is special to them, bring exclusive benefits, and is highly secure. Same thing for Starbucks. One of the most successful NFT program out there is Starbucks Odyssey program, where the more time you spend at Starbucks, the more stamps you collect, and then you can resell those stamps, in a form of NFTs. Starbucks does not even mention the word NFT in the entire program, even though it's probably the most successful and larger NFT program out there globally. So you can see we're moving beyond the hype of NFTs, arts, and those fun things to like, okay, what is the actual business case for brands? And for many brands, that business case is to build a very strong loyalty program on the blockchain.
That's amazing. I mean, this is really sort of an eye opener for people in our community, which is mainly retailers and marketeers. And I think there's a lot in there for them to understand and learn from, to see how they can use NFT in multiple ways to help their brands and to help their businesses. And I just want to remind everyone once again, whoever is listening or watching, that uh, Metaverse Web3 NFT event will be held alongside DX3 April 9th and 10th, 2024 in Toronto. Ben, I wanted to ask you, I mean, we've got a few minutes left, so I wanted to ask you that are there any resources that are available to people that you want to share, or anything that you want to talk about that you think people will benefit from?
Yeah, there's plenty of great resources. I've seen an acceleration of wonderful resources over the last 6 months. One of my favorite books is a book by Amanda Cassatt. She's the founder and CEO of a Web3 agency called Serotonin. A book is called Web3 Marketing, plain and simple. I think the book is fabulous because it gives you a sense of what NFTs do, what they can do from the perspective of a marketer. And they also go through the history of NFTs and Web3, what it is, what it's not, why it's important for us to believe in the movement that is not rooted in having just a number of small players, Apple, Google, and Meta own your data. Because the thing about Web3, it's exactly what it is, decentralization, try to bypass those very large walled gardens. Amanda does a very good job explaining that in a book. Again, it's called Web3 Marketing. I'm in the process of launching a Web3 training program that will be live in January. And we have 8 hours of video content going through what is Web3, what is NFT. We have a lawyer talking about intellectual properties. We have someone talking about AI and Web3 and how they're converging. But I would suggest to start with Amanda's book and then move your way up. And if you need more resources, we actually also have, I forgot to bring it up, we have a comic book that we produce here at Dibs. They explain what Dibs is, but more importantly, what Web3 is going to be. If you want a copy and you live in the US, sorry, I cannot do international shipments, but if you're in the US and you want a copy, drop me a note. I'd be happy to mail you a copy for free. It's kind of cool. And if you have a wallet and you want the NFT of the cover, again, I'd be happy to drop you the wallet, the NFT for free. I'm mostly trying to make sure that everyone gets educated and excited about NFT. That is my mission for the next few months.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ben, and for your kindness for sharing all of this with us. This has been an amazing conversation, and I wish you nothing but all the best. And I think like we are in for a transformational time where a lot of the things are going to change, a lot of the things are going to evolve from where we are today. And I think NFTs and Web3 are going to be at the heart of all of that. For the latest updates, subscribe to our channels, link below. You can also visit us at dx3canada.com. It will help you keep updated with our content and engage with us and interact